allowed them to take it, but I was still just one play. How we answered, what we were able to do, we certainly had a chance to tie the score up. We're 2nd and 1, I believe, inside the 5, and then that ultimately, we only got a field goal out of that. I think there was definitely opportunities for us to take it back. We just never did. Field position, like I said, that's a product of us not moving the ball enough. Special teams, I think there was things in the special teams that allowed them an edge in the field position, and we never got that momentum back, and it's unfortunate. You feel terrible for our guys because I know you could hear it in their voices. They want this. This isn't a matter of us not understanding the gravity of this game or how wanting it. And sometimes football just takes its twists and turns, and we just didn't make enough plays. They did, and here we are.
Are you able to immediately identify maybe what led to those long punt returns that they got?
Well, I think we were in position to make some tackles. That would be my immediate thought, and we didn't bring them down. So, there definitely credit goes to the returner. I think at times we probably didn't get the ball up in the air as much either. Bryce had to punt a lot today, and I think it was some good and some not so good. Anytime you hit a ball without much hang time, you're giving that returner an opportunity, and I think that happened all too often. But again, we had to punt way too much, gave them way too many opportunities to see what they could do.
Can you describe kind of the thinking behind the fake field goal?
Yeah, trying to create momentum. We just turned them over and we went backwards. And we were probably right on the fringe of, Blake being able to knock it through. I know it was a 16-point game at that time. And, we just weren't we weren't doing anything offensively to seize the momentum. And thought we'd have an opportunity with that. And, I'll have to go back and look at it. But obviously they made the play and turned that around. And that was really probably the end of it right there.
What can you point to for the offense being out of rhythm?
Well, I think a fair amount of that credit goes to their defense. Their defense, coupled with the noise here, is a challenge. Because they can really time things up, in particular on 3rd down. I thought they were able to really be the aggressor in those situations, and if that's something when we're faced with a similar situation down the road, we're gonna have to have a different plan for that. I just felt like Matt was on his heels a lot. Whether he was seeing guys or the guys were already there, or we missing blocks, it was probably a combination of all that.
And the offensive line being shorthanded, what did you think of Rush at right tackle?
I can't say I focused on him a lot. I know we got a couple penalties. Russ is out there doing the best he can. That's a less than ideal situation. Losing TJ, but we're in that part of the season when that's just going to be part of the deal, and guys need to step up. So we'll take a look at it, and whenever that next game is, we'll put the best 5 guys out there that we think can win us a football game. But I'm certain Rush gave everything he had today.
It seemed like y'all were kind of having trouble making adjustments on offense. Did you feel kind of limited in what you could try in this game?
Adjustments and gaining momentum are part of staying on the field, and we had way too many 3 and outs. And again, a fair amount of credit I think goes to Montana just being the aggressor, and for us, my guess is 1st and 2nd down, they were probably the more physical team too, and then we're sitting in 3rd down. Those 3rd down situations, 3rd and long situations were going to be challenging today. We knew that. We couldn't get in them. We did all too often, and Matt was having to get the ball in his hands probably a little faster than he wanted, and then there was maybe a time or two where we didn't make a play on the other end. So I thought perimeter wise, we got a couple things going early, and then honestly I thought they got after us on the perimeter a little bit with getting off blocks and making plays too.
You mentioned the early false start penalties, but the other penalty that really kind of sticks out is the offsides that negates the interception. Both of those, the ones at the beginning, the one in the 3rd quarter, kind of take you out of opportunities to score. How tough are those to kind of come to terms with after the fact?
Well, you don't want to come to terms with any penalties. I know the false starts. We worked real hard on the noise and dealing with it, and we had a couple back-to-back and on that sequence down in the red zone, and you can't have that. We had one late. I think Trey was the one that got caught on a pressure stepping over the line on the interception that Simeon had. So, this is a game where I think we knew full well that we could make a lot of mistakes, and we made enough of them. Whether it was penalties, missed tackles here and there, not catching, fielding a couple punts early. It was just there was too many to probably overcome. So we need to move on from this. I think at the same time though, this should hurt. There's nothing more that I think our guys wanted, and we just didn't. It didn't happen for us today. But I think on the flip side, they understand that we do have football ahead of us, and we got to be able to get better through whatever time we have before that next game.
How'd you feel like Isaiah and Elijah were health-wise? How did they look in your eyes?
Well, I know they were out there. I think Isaiah, that was probably a situation where we really had to get him going, I guess, and it really didn't happen. Meaning there were, he was going to have maybe some carries for 2 and 3 and 4 that ultimately would maybe lead to some bigger opportunities, and we just, he was a guy that we didn't get in the flow today. I thought Elijah, he had a couple opportunities on the perimeter. I thought, given his recovery through the week, I thought he looked okay. So, Isaiah is certainly a big part of what we've been able to do all year, and to not have him exactly full speed, we probably knew that was the case today. But he was out there working hard. I really appreciate his efforts, and we need to get him healthy before we play again.
Was Troy mostly a decoy, or was he? Did you want to get him the ball a little bit?
Well, it was a replay, so I think we ran 2 back-to-back, and the read went for Tommy to keep it on one, and then Troy was out the front the other play. So no, he wasn't a decoy. We were going to give him the ball if that's what the read was.
Could you walk us through the last couple minutes of the first half and kind of what the decision making was there, and they were able to kind of capitalize at the end there?
Well, I think, what was it, 13-3, I think, and we had under 2 minutes. I think to some degree you want to be aggressive. I didn't want to punt the ball back to them and have all kinds of field position necessarily. I think we threw an incompletion on 3rd down that did stop the clock. It did provide that opportunity. I can't recall that punt exactly, but I know they would have been set up in pretty good field position. So, I think putting faith in our guys and being relatively aggressive in that situation is probably how we approach it. It certainly didn't work out for us that they ended up coming back and getting 3 more. Credit to their field goal kicker today. He was on point. And those are big points. If any one of those through that sequence doesn't go through the uprights, just that feeling coming off the field is so much different. But was he 5 for 5 today? It was big for him to be able to put those points on the board.
What was the thinking, just putting Troy in on offense? What kind of, take me through that decision a little bit?
Well, I think no different than getting, Tommy Millot out there. I think Troy's would certainly be a playmaker. Now we don't want to overdo it by any means, and I don't know that was necessarily the situation that we intended on using him, but we were, our backs were certainly against the wall. I think relative to when that was in the game, and I guess trying to light a fire and make a play, and I think we got a decent gain on the first down, but then didn't on the second. So.
Thank you. Let's try to ask him one more. What kind of impact do you think Junior Bergen made on the game? Because he had the big play, but also the punt
big
return.
impact. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to ask, obviously he was signed with you guys when you were hired, and then before he transferred here, just what sort of conversations did you have with him about trying to convince him to stay in Bozeman?
I'm going to stay away from that one.